Well, this is very exciting. As I, posted before the event, I was so excited to meet the leaders here who are actual practitioners and have done such immense, valuable work in the field of AI and analytics. I think I'll thank 3AI and EXL for letting me talk about my personal experience of implementing. So I worked with this industry for about 15 years. Done some real practical implementation of analytics and data. Help client consume the insights that have come out. But here today I'm going to talk particularly about one of the industries which is where I've spent more than a decade, which is the utilities industry, and how it is evolving with its own pace of adopting analytics, AI, and the data, right? In particularly talking about utilities, what I'll do is, take three parts. One, where I'll, try and create a small scandal where people actually see their industries, and where I put a comparison of how utilities has its own journey in adoption of AI and analytics compared to some other industries, which is the BFSIs, the healthcare, and the media and the retails of the world, right? The second part is going to be around what is the next gen utilities actually doing around the AI and analytics, right? It's not that they've been a laggard in that space, but yeah, they're catching up. They've been doing some marvelous cases, specifically on the operational analytics side, where AI adoption is quite heavy. The third part is where we'll talk about a particular use case of a utility player, a global utility player, where we have actually partnered with them for about 18 years. There has been a tremendous journey, and we have seen the maturity of AI analytics in their organization. So yeah, we'll talk about that. All right, so while you guys consume what's there on the slide, a lot of you will not be happy where I've put in various industries in this grid, depicting the maturity and the adoption. But, please be happy because I put my specific industry at the bottom of the quadrant, so I'm more than that. But utilities, by virtue of their business, AI and analytics is not a choice for them, right? There has never been a pull, because utilities is all about electricity, gas, water, which the product is going to get consumed whatever happens, right? It's not like a credit card or a loan that I need for sure to survive. And hence, their adoption of analytics was more because of the evolving pace, the regulatory coming and pushing them that you need to improve. The government pushing them, there is a sustainability agenda that you need to drive now. Gear up. And why not pass the heavy profits that you're making to the customers? You're already a low margin business, but why don't you screw yourself up? Go ahead and do a lot of investment in this space. And hence, they've also been on that journey. But most of the times, what we have seen is they suffer from the load of the legacy, right? They are very fragmented in their approach. Silos is a very common word, and they love their silos. They are very happy, sticking to a particular part of their business and living in that, just making small improvements in that. But, they have not been so bad as well. What is the next gen utilities system, ecosystem, and how are they actually, evolving? What are the interventions? And these are specifically, with one of our major clients, we've been working on all of these buckets that I show. The next gen utility ecosystem wants connected data sources. They want connected journey outcomes for their customers. Okay, they are also talking about improving customer experience, which is one of, and that is basically the government is pushing them for that. There is a lot of media attention of late because the Ukraine-Russia crisis, Gas prices have risen across the globe, and people are suffering. So utilities cannot afford to make a lot of money, but they have to pass on that benefit. The government is intervening, but they have to adapt to that pace. And hence, a lot of this data and analytics is being consumed to stabilize these programs so that the customer, the end customer, can actually get benefited out of it. So what's happening in the utility space? Well, as I said, CX and employee experience was never a problem statement for them, but they have been forced to look at it. CX more from a regulatory perspective, but employee experience to improve their own bottom lines, right? If you have empowered employees, I heard Mahesh from TVS talking about how they empower the employees when they visit the showroom to give them the ability to actually say whether this customer will buy or not. Similarly, we are empowering our agents to look at making the best next possible action whenever they are talking to their customer, or whether they are managing a complaint which has come at the customer side from the back office point of view, right? How do you take the best next actions is something that we are working on. And that is where we're working on specific NLP-based techniques to understand the customer sentiment and try and improvise on what best next actions the customers, the agents can take for their customers. Digitized debt collections, right? Again, in this scenario where we are talking about residential customers who literally pay about 30-40 pounds of their monthly consumption electricity bill, if they are not able to pay their bills, the debt is going to surmount. How do you build in a digital collections platform which can empathize with the customer, promise a payment plan to them, and ensure that there is stickability? While humans tend to call up, they arrange for that payment plan, but how can AI enable that? So that's something that is being worked in the utility space at present. Forecasting and improvement of forecasting, not only on the consumption side so that they can hedge and buy upfront at a cheaper price, but also to assure that their staffings are accurate. Again, talking about their bottom lines, improving their OPEX, etc. Having a good, robust forecast model is something very essential for their workforce management point of view. As I said, they've been focusing a lot on maintaining the silos. They were very comfortable. Modernization was something which was impossible. But with the advent of cloud platforms, and their parallel industries actually moving or navigating much ahead, they were forced to get into the modernization of platforms using the cloud migration. We see a lot of cloud adoption, and hence, with that modernized infrastructure, they are able to implement a lot of things. IoT-based data was not new to utilities. A lot of you might have heard about smart meters sending reads, but they were never able to utilize the right potential of those reads. The reads were real time, but neither they were able to predict fraudulent or anomalous reads out of it. Neither they were able to comfort the customer that you're going to get into a bill shock because we see so much of consumption happening, and this in winter season, and then your financial ability is not there, you will actually get a bill shock. They were not able to do that. But we've actually created models where we can prevent bill shocks using those smart meter reads. Unstructured data is something in the form of meter read consumption. So everywhere they're not smart meters yet. The customers actually click photographs of their meters and upload it on their apps. And hence, we are able to extract the meter read out of it and say, this is the consumption, you'll be billed on proper read and not an estimated read. And hence, the customer is comfortable, they'll not challenge you on the bill, and hence, you will not get a complaint, etc. Right? But what I'm here to talk about is intelligent data-led operations, right? Going back to how the agent working on the back office side feels when he or she has to toggle through multiple screens and eventually still get the outcome incorrectly. What we have done is empowered them with the right amount of data to take that corrective course of action, because with our historical trends and the SME knowledge that we have gained over the period of time, we started off by a rule-based model, but then over the time made it AI enabled to kind of tell them, if this is a complaint sitting on the back of it, can you look at resolving a meter or a bill or a tariff related issue for the customer, so that the customer journey proactively gets smoothened out. So those are the things that we are actually doing ahead. This is something which will be familiar, and this is not just for the utility ecosystem, but I guess you've heard it everywhere. So disconnected outcome, broken customer journeys, data running into silos, etc. Right? What we're trying to do is stitch everything together, and hence the connected theme all across. The idea is to get a correct connected outcome across the customer journey. And what have we done for that? Right? We started off by building MIA. MIA was something like a management information assistant, but essentially what it does is there is an AI engine, there is a prioritization engine which runs in the background and helps you answer 3 fundamental questions. So what happened, right? And why did it happen? And why is it happening, and what is the root cause for it? And how do you particularly solve for it, right? And don't just solve for the current fix that is required. How do you iron it out for the entire journey and remove that or make that issue redundant, right? So what we do is providing a real-time view to that agent sitting in the background of where the customer is standing in their journey right now. What is the reactive action that I can take because a situation has happened, or what is the proactive action that I can take so that the customer doesn't go and call or complain. The industry term for that is a failure demand. Failure demand is something that happens because there are broken journeys, right? So what is that we can do to empower that agent to take corrective course of action and give them the real status of the customer in the real-time scenario? The architecture, again, I wanted to give you a brief about the architecture. It might sound very familiar. Again, all AI implementations or analytics implementation happen in a similar way. But what we've done is brought all of the data, which is fragmented and siloed, present at various places, created data pipelines, created the data lakes, fed them into your models, fed them through the prioritization, and finally connected them to the work allocation tools, which a typical agent sitting in the front office or a back office will utilize to take up their daily work. Now, the change that is there is, it is not just a ticket that has come to the agent to resolve. It has come with what the agent needs to do to resolve that as well, right? And hence, we are calling it intelligent operations, which is data-led. What it ultimately leads is not only reducing a lot of manual effort, but ironing out customer journeys and hence, reducing a lot of your cost to serve, which is again very critical, and that cost to serve that you save actually funds back for all of these implementations. So we become net zero in terms of ROI very, very quickly. All of that investment goes into building all of this AI infrastructure, actually gets paid back very quickly. I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what is the tech architecture behind it, right? You would have been very familiar. Now, what I've been talking is all of this, which is the benefit, because when you see a real-time journey, you get to view where the customer stands, you understand their sentiment, and by virtue of that, because there are no issues, you're able to increase your CSAT. What it means for me commercially is high customer lifetime value and incremental sales, low customer acquisition costs, right? Now, this is a very interesting depiction of how intelligent operations helps you, right? You reduce your manual effort over the period of time, and you increase your NPS. You are increasing your digital workforce, but increasing increasingly you are reducing the failure demand in the ecosystem. I spoke about the global energy player that we work for. And I'll leave you guys with this thought where we have delivered tremendous amount of value to this client, right? This is a public case study available on EXL's website. The client is called Centrica. It's a global player. So yeah, guys, that was me. Thank you for listening. And